Hey guys, how's it going today? GriffyBit here, and we're here with another episode of Unit Rundown. Today, we're going to be tackling one of the 3 Bs, known as the Paladin. So let's get down into it. I hope everybody's having a fantastic day, enjoying that beautiful grind on Stream Raiders. Sorry I've been gone for a couple of weeks. I got sick the one week, and then I got the vaccine the next week, so we were kind of out of commission for that. But anyways, let's get back into it. Sorry, YouTube guys. As we do our most videos, we start with the basics, and with the specializations, pros and cons, my personal opinion, rating out of 10, and then my personal outro. So, let's start with the basics. The Paladin is unique and different besides the other armored units because it gives up the range resist and trades it for melee resist and increased healing. It also has a higher HP pool than some of the other armored units. As we do in all our other videos, we start off with the viewer and then we end up with the epic unit. So to start off, the viewer side, the role is armored, the attack range is 1, the attack speed is also 1, which is attack per second, the movement speed is 1, and that's tiles per second, and it cannot target flying. The epic version, however, has an attack range of 1.3, attack speed of 1 as well, movement speed is 1 as well, and just like every epic unit in the game, it can target flying. The milestones go something a little bit like this. So at level 1, it receives a 20% increased healing and 50% damage reduction against melee unit attacks. Not ranged, but melee. Level 5, it's a 40% increased healing and then 50% damage reduction stays the same. Level 10, it's 60%, same with the 50% damage reduction. 20, it is 80%. Same thing with the 50%, and at level 30, it's that juicy 100%, but still maintaining that 50% damage reduction. And for the viewer and epic milestones, these stay the same. The target priority is pretty basic for this one. It doesn't have a target priority. It just simply seeks out the closest enemy of unit of any type. And it can walk through healers, flag bearers, and range units. It can walk through Templars, monks, melee, and other armored units. Now let's step into specializations. Let's start off with the Duelist. The Duelist specialization has a 15% bonus attack damage, sets bonus healing received to 100% regardless of level. So he's always going to receive that bonus healing, and he's also going to get 15% bonus attack damage, which, you know, with a Paladin doesn't really do much anyways. This is the same as all the other videos with the one specialization that just no one uses just because it's just that off-center damage that rarely ever happens and it's not going to really be worth your time. On the epic version, the set of the 100% bonus healing stays the same, but you get 30% instead of that 15%. But like I said again, not worth it. Now the champion Paladin casts a buff every 6 seconds to all allies in a 3 AoE radius. That AoE stands for Area of Effect, increases the healing they receive by 30%. For 5 seconds. This is a nice little buff for healing and your people other than your paladins. Because the thing with the paladins is they only get that healing bonus to themselves. If you go champion, then they take some of that healing bonus and give it to the other units. The epic, however, increases that by an extra 10%, so it's going to give 40% healing bonus, and then it also goes in a 4 AoE. And when I say AoE, an area of effect, that means it's the same as our Barbarian. But Barbarian does a slash and attacks 3 units. That means it hit within its area of effect. With a champion Paladin, it heals those people within the proximity of the area of effect. So his middle point is going to be at the center point of the Paladin. And then a 4 AoE will be that round circle around your Paladin. Now we got the Heavy Paladin. The Heavy Paladin reduces all incoming damage by an additional 20%, but reduces its attack damage by 10%. And then it sets bonus healing to 100% regardless of level. This is good 100% of the time. If you choose this is the spec you would like to play. This is the spec that's really good. You have a choice a little bit between Heavy or Champion Paladin, just because if you rather want to go support and more in the back line rather than the front line, you can do so as well. Since it reduces its attack damage by 10%, it doesn't really matter because it's an armored unit in the first place. Its main priority is to soak up damage. Not only that, the Paladin's job is to soak up melee damage, but it reduces incoming damage by an additional 20%, so it makes it so you can just take that little bit of damage. Just a little bit. And it's all incoming damage. It's not just melee, but it's ranged as well. So remember that. The epic version, however, increases it by 20%, so it takes 40% reduced damage, but it also reduces the attack damage by another 20%. The healing bonus stays the same. So where do we want to place this juicy boy? Like we said before, as we had our examples, we had tanks in the front, warriors or melee on the sides, range in the middle, and healers right behind your armored. You want them in the front line. But it can change depending on what your specialization is. If you have a specialization of champion, you want them behind your main armor group. If you have a heavy paladin, you want them in the front line. So you can kind of decide of how you want to play. Although champion paladin is a little bit underwhelming with its healing bonus, it's actually pretty good to still have in your team just to split up a little bit of the unique specializations. So in doing so, if you're going to do that, you want to put them behind the main line, as same as you would with, say, a Master Centurion. Now that we've covered the basics and gone over the specializations, now it's time to tackle the pros and cons. This is the segment of the video where we go over the pros and cons of that unit to really see if what you decide that you want to play is the play to play. Wow, did I really just say play 3 times? So, pros. It's the only armored unit that actually gets reduced damage towards melee targets. Its healing bonus, stacked on top of Invigorating Healer, or any healer for that matter, increases the survivability of this armored unit. Not only, it has an incredibly high health pool. Comparing to the other armored units, the cooldown of this unit is good, but that's only if we compare to other armored units. You have the ability to decide whether you want heavy or champion. You have that choice, so that's very, very effective. Now let's head on to the cons. Cons. It does take a lot of damage from ranged. This is a huge issue, especially in PvP. Like the healer, it is hard to find in the shop. When it comes to the champion paladin, sometimes the healing bonus does not work because there's melee units that nullify healing anyways. So you can see your paladin becoming in a really rough spot. Now that we've gone over the pros and cons, let's talk about my personal opinion. My personal opinion about the Paladin is I love the Paladin. It is a great counterpart to the Centurion, whether you need a choice of heavier on melee or heavier on range, depending on what you want. The cooldown is good enough to a point where you can at least place at least one a map. It's fantastic epic. The healing bonus is fantastic, even though some melees actually nullify healing, especially in PvP, so I don't suggest this to necessarily use in PvP. Of course, there's going to be certain situations where you are going to want to use Paladin, but when it comes down to it, there's very specific niches to place, but it is one of the strongest units in the game. If you knock out all those nullifications and everything in general, this thing is a absolute siege tank. This thing will roll on through, battling ram the front hand door because it does hit harder than most other armored units. And it has a higher health pool, so that means you can get healing. Overhealing don't mean jack, so Champion Paladin sometimes has an issue with that healing because of the overhealing problem. So that's why I always suggest to go heavy, because heavy will always benefit you. You'll always get more damage reduction, and not to mention, you take a little bit less DPS, but it's not a big deal. And when I correlated this to the 3 Bs, I was referring to the Barbarian, the Bomber, and the Paladin. If you've seen my other videos, you've seen me reference the 3 Bs before. These are what we consider the OP Triforce. This has your armored side, your melee side, and your range side all in one. Of course, you could, consider artillery to be in there, but, artillery was a newer unit. We're talking about the OGs. We're talking about the big dogs here. So, all that said in mind, Paladin, one of my favorite armored units. It's kind of in between me and Centurion. I usually play Centurion because there is always more ranged. And that's also another issue. You're going to find a lot of maps that are going to prioritize range over melee. Good instance of a really good Paladin play would be in Retrolandia, if you guys remember that event where most of it was melee heavy. So Paladins were really, really, really strong in those maps. But in the end, Paladin, all-around solid unit. you choose champion, you choose heavy, you're going to see some good stuff out of it. Duelist, you're just living that meme dream, so you might as well respec while you're there. Now the Paladin, the rating out of 10. What are we going to give this bad boy? Well, considering it's good in dungeons, PvE, and situational PvP, I'm going to give this a solid 9 out of 10. Now you're wondering, is like, that's pretty high. But if you consider the bonus, the healing, and the bonus to melee defense, which is the only armored unit that actually takes a damage reduction towards melee, this is a very good unit that you can place in any situation. So, for that and that alone, I give this a high 9 out of 10. There you go, guys. There's the next episode of Unit Rundown. Tune in next week when we do another episode. And like again, I said sorry, the vaccine and being sick, so I've been gone for a couple of weeks. You know, I started to grow the YouTube fam, so I want to keep the YouTube fam as happy as possible. So thank you for watching. And subscribe and like and maybe hit that bell if you're truly enjoying this SR content. Well, I'm eventually, once we're done these series, I'm going to be moving on and, you know, possibly doing maybe some other SR guides, or maybe possibly start moving on to a new game that I've been playing, which is called Legends of Eidolon. If you guys want to check that out, feel free. And also, if you're really interested in it, you can check me out on Twitch. We do lots of Stream Raiders battles, we do the Stream Pirates, and we also play Legends as well. So, everything you need to know is in the description below. Anyway, I've been your stream captain for today. My name is GriffyBit, proud owner of the Itty Bitty Army, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.